In this video, I'm going to tell you what Rufus is, why it's important to know what Rufus is, and how you can make slight tweaks in your listing to increase the likelihood that your product gets shown by Rufus as opposed to a competitor's. Now, to give you an idea of the type of scale with Rufus at the moment, Amazon roughly gets around 2.5 billion impressions every single month, and around 10% of those impressions are going through Rufus at the moment. So around 250 to 300 million impressions every single month. So this is huge, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but I do genuinely believe that the sellers that get ahead now, they're going to have a huge edge over their competition. So to put it simply, Rufus is an AI personal shopping assistant, and you can chat with it in a conversational manner. And based on whatever questions you ask it, it's going to provide you with product recommendations and information based on the problem that you have. Now, I know that sounds a little strange, so I'll just give you an example. If I'm going to a wedding in the summertime in Italy, I may ask Rufus or tell Rufus that I'm looking for a wedding shirt for a wedding that I'm going to in the summer in Italy. And based on all of this, and also based on all of the information that Amazon already knows on us as a shopper, so whether we prefer more premium products or cheaper products, whether we have an inclination towards a specific type of colour of products, our purchase history, search history, all of this, it's going to provide us with a more bespoke and customised recommendation of different products, as opposed to the more generic results that you'd get just simply from the search engine results page. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dive into Amazon.com and I'm going to give you a live example of how we can use Rufus, some of its various use cases, and then also I'm going to give you a few steps that you can take to ensure that your product gets shown in Rufus as opposed to a competitor's. So once you're on Amazon.com, you might see this icon on the left here for Rufus. You can just click onto that, and then you can see here it's asking us, what do you need help with today? And it offers a few different prompts or recommendations of things or questions that you might want to ask Rufus. Now, let's say, for example, that I'm looking for a footrest because I'm getting leg pain sitting at the desk all day. So I may ask Rufus a question, maybe even higher up the funnel. Like, for example, I am having leg pain whilst sitting at the desk for 12 hours a day. And then based on the problem that I have, you can see here Rufus is going to provide us with a few different suggestions, a bit of information, just so we've got a little bit more knowledge of what type of product we might be looking for. So in my opinion, this is going to negate the need for Google search. So shoppers that are slightly higher up the funnel are no longer going to need to use Google, and they're just going to be sticking on Amazon. And this is confirmed by some of the data that Amazon has published, stating that Rufus has led to a 8% increase in what they call navigational engagement, which is essentially how long people are staying on the app. So you can see here it's providing a few different recommendations of products. So we've got footrests, we've got ergonomic desk chairs, standing desks, etc. And then we can just click into a particular product category here. So for example, we'll do this one, ergonomic footrest. And now we can see that it's given us a bunch of different product recommendations here. And what's interesting is the top 5 products here are all organic placements. So you can start to see it straight away how this can be another way for you as a seller to organically expose your products to shoppers, because as we all know, Amazon is increasingly becoming more and more pay to play. So this is just another method for you to get your product in front of shoppers for free. So that's one of Rufus's use cases, and I'll just give you a second one. And this is, we can ask product specific questions. So we can see here we've got Rufus here on the left, so I'll just click on that. And a few common questions that you might want to ask about this product is it suitable for travel, for only office use, etc. We've got a bunch of different questions here. So that's pretty cool. Now here's where it gets interesting. What we can start to do is use these questions here as little hooks or prompts to enable us to answer as many questions in our listing as possible, and provide Amazon and provide the shopper as well with as much context as to what your product can be used for, who it can be used by, where can it be used, is it complementary to certain products. So generally these types of questions here are usually the most commonly asked questions for your product. So what I recommend doing is going on to each one of your products and going through all of these questions and making sure that your product listing answers that question specifically or explicitly. So I'll give you an example here, right? So does it stay firmly in place when used? And you can see here, according to customer reviews, it does stay firmly in place when used. So what I would advise this particular seller to do is make sure that they're actually explicitly stating that it would stay firmly in place when used somewhere in their listing. Because what's going to happen is, let's say for example, a shopper wants to purchase a footrest and they say to Rufus, I would like to buy a footrest that stays firmly in place when used. Because this product listing isn't explicitly stating in the listing that it does, if there are other competitors out there that do have that in their listing, then Amazon is going to show their product and not this product. So you can start to see how you can fill the gaps in your listing and make sure that you're answering all of the relevant questions for your product. Now, Amazon has released a white paper on Rufus, or Cosmo, which is basically the back end of Rufus, and it does give you a lot more insight into what types of questions and what type of context you should be answering in your listing. And in my opinion, there are three main levers that you can pull to influence the AI and increase the likelihood your product gets shown in the listing. So the first one is images. So Amazon loves lifestyle images, so you can provide context through your images. The second one is your semantic copy. So things like your title, your bullet points, your description, things like that. And that really ties into these questions here. So the more questions that we can answer about our product listing, the better. And then the third and final one is the back-end attributes. So what I recommend doing is going into your back-end and making sure that all the back-end attributes are filled out, and the ones that are already filled out, make sure that they have been accurately filled out, because Amazon does have a tendency to inaccurately populate your own back-end attributes. So those are the three things that I recommend doing. The first one would be your images. So you want to make sure that you're providing Amazon with as much context as possible into what your product can be used for. So lifestyle images work very, very well here. You can also use text in your images as well to provide even more context. So in this example, you might want to put non-slip footrest as just a quick example. The second one is your semantic copy. So answering as many of these questions as you possibly can. In my opinion, you should really be answering all of these questions, because Amazon sees these questions as relevant to your product. And then the third and final one is the back-end attributes. So that's pretty much everything for this video. I mean, to summarize, Amazon's released a new AI personal shopping assistant called Rufus. It's going to change the way that shoppers interact with Amazon and interact with products. And it's essentially a new organic traffic source. So the sellers that get in now, they're going to have a huge edge and be able to build a moat around their products. And then the three ways that you can sort of influence or increase the likelihood that your product gets shown in Rufus is through your images, copy, and back-end attributes. So that's everything for the video. If you want a deeper dive into any of these aspects and some more actionable steps as well, let me know. I'm more than happy to create another video on that. But if you found this valuable, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want any more information about how we help sellers, click the link below.